Sir, I'm Shruti Nagja, sir.
Yes, tell me.
Sir, there is no any problem in retained earnings, sir.
No, because in the numericals, we are going to consider cost of retained earnings as equal to cost of equity capital, which will be given in the problem. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, thank you. And next question, please. Any other student? Okay, so then I'll continue with the discussion. So I'm going to mute you all. Okay, so now we are learning computation of cost of capital, which is step 2. So which is called as a weighted average cost of capital. Okay, so in determining weighted average cost of capital, there are 3 sub steps. Okay, so step 1, assigning weights to specific costs. So that is what we are learning now. There are 2 types of weights which can be assigned, okay, to different sources of finance. Okay, we have already learned marginal weights and we were learning about historical weights. Okay, so I'll continue from there. So historical weights. Here the relative proportions of various sources of funds to the existing capital structure are used to assign weights. The basis of weighing system is the funds already employed by the firm. In whatever proportion the company has already raised the capital, same proportions are going to be considered while raising additional capital for the firm. Okay. So the reason for using historical weights is based on the assumption that the firm's existing capital structure is optimal. It is not optional, sorry, I will change it later. The firm's existing capital structure is optimal. Okay, means the most ideal one. Because if you remember chapter number 20 from unit 5, what we learned, designing capital structure. So there were different factors that were taken into consideration while designing the optimal capital structure, which would maximize shareholders' wealth. So by considering all those factors, the company has already designed a capital structure and raised initially the capital in that structure. Hence, okay, so therefore it should be maintained in the future as well. That is, the firm should raise additional funds in the same proportion as they are in the existing capital structure. So historical weights refer the same capital structure or same proportions in which the existing capital is raised from different sources. So merits of using historical weights are, okay, it takes the long-term view. Okay, so it takes the long-term view. So the capital structure which is designed at present is considering all the factors that have influence on the optimal capital structure. Okay, so it is also prepared. This present capital structure is prepared taking in view the flexibility in the future. Say for example, if the company could go on increasing the proportion of debt capital in future. So this way, historical weights takes a long-term view. If the cost thus calculated is 12%, okay, using it as a decision criterion for capital budgeting, okay, the project returning 13% next year will be accepted. Okay, say for example, if historical weights are considered and the weighted average cost of capital is calculated as 12%, okay, so this year it means next year while the company is planning to invest in a capital project, so any capital project which would return a return of greater than 12% or 13% in this case would be accepted. That is how it takes a long-term view. Demerit include, according to the assumption of this approach, firms should raise additional funds from different sources in the same proportion in which they are in the existing capital structure. Okay. So this implies that there are no constraints on raising funds from these sources. Okay, it is not correct. Okay, for example, what is the meaning of this? Okay, the firms have to raise capital in exactly in the same proportion as in the previous capital structure. Okay, and this implies that there are no constraints on raising funds from these sources. This is not correct. What does this mean is explained in next paragraph. For instance, the amount of retained earnings may actually fall short of its required share in the financing new projects. because firms don't have control over retained earnings. So retained earnings are the one which are kept aside by the company after making payment to preference shareholders, dividend to preference shareholders. So partly can be distributed as a dividend to equity shareholders, and part of the earnings can be retained by the company. So how much amount the company is going to retain every year, it is not same, neither in terms of percentage nor in terms of rupee amount. Okay, so the company will not be able to retain same amount of earnings every year. That's why we say firms don't have control over retained earnings. So let us say take an example that in an existing capital structure, the in a 100 crore rupee capital structure, the proportion of retained earnings are 10%. Let us say means 10% of 100 crore is 10 crore rupees. It means while raising, if the company wants to raise additional capital of another 100 crore rupees, if a company wants to raise additional capital of another 100 crore rupees, it means considering the previous capital structure, 10% of the capital has to be raised from internal sources, that is retained earnings. But what if next year the company does not have sufficient retained earnings? Okay, if the profits are down, and the company has only 2 crore as retained earnings. Okay, so it will be difficult for the company to, company will not have 10 crore rupee to finance from way of retained earnings source. That is why it is called firms don't have control over the retained earnings, and the companies will not be able to raise funds from the same sources in the same proportions as in the previous capital structure. So that is a major drawback or demerit of historical weights. So it looks illogical. Okay, then please be careful again. So please pay attention all years. In historical weights, there are two types. One is market value weights and the other is book value weights. So I request for your attention. In historical weights, there are two types of weights: market value weights and book value weights. So please pay attention. Market value weights. Market value weights in one type of historical weights. Market value weights use market values, means equity share prices in the market. Equity share prices in the capital market or stock market. So market value weights use market values to measure the proportion of each type of capital to calculate weighted average cost of capital. So kindly know that equity shares, debentures, preference shares can be traded in the stock market. Trading means the equity shareholder of one company can sell his or her shares to another investor. Okay, so while trading, by the demand and supply, the market price of the equity shares are determined. So these market price of the equity shares are considered to measure the proportion of each type of capital to calculate weighted average cost of capital. And not only equity shares, as I said, debentures are traded as well as the preference shares are also traded. Okay, so the market value of debentures, market value of preference shares, as well as the market value of equity shares. Value means price. Are considered. Are considered by the company. While assigning proportions or calculating weighted average cost of capital. Okay. So then, the merit of market value weights are: market value of securities closely approximate the actual amount to be received from their sale. It is not scale, sorry, it is sale. We say, for example, the equity share of face value of 100 rupee, and if it is being traded at 150 rupee in the market, it means if the company wants to raise capital, it will get 150 rupee from the sale of equity shares. So market value of securities closely approximate the actual amount to be received from their sale. Okay. Then the cost specific sources of finance are calculated using prevailing market prices, hence it is more desirable. Then demerits of market value weights include calculating market value of securities. Many may present difficulties, particularly the market values of retained earnings. see, we cannot, since retained earnings are not traded in the stock exchange, so we cannot calculate the market value of retained earnings. So that is one of the demerits of using market value weights. And weights are based on market values, which are likely to fluctuate widely. So if you see the share prices of equity shares in the market, they keep on fluctuating daily. Similarly, the market prices of preference shares as well as debentures keep fluctuating widely day by day. So it becomes difficult to calculate weighted average cost of capital using market value weights. So these are the market value weights, first type of historical weights. So we'll move on to the second type of historical weights, that are book value weights. So book value weights use accounting. Okay, means book values. The books of accounts are referred to as a book in this case. The books of accounts are referred to as a book in this case. So book value weights use accounting values or book values to measure the proportion of each type of capital to calculate the weighted average cost of capital. Okay. So like a existing capital structure, you already know, we have discussed about it. So whatever is the existing capital structure in the books of accounts, the same are used, okay, to calculate the cost of capital. Merits of using book value weights are weights as per the books of accounts. Our book values are readily available from the published records of the firm. So hence easy to refer and saves time. Firms set their capital structure targets in terms of book value. So practically or generally, companies set their capital structure targets in terms of book values itself. Means while raising additional capital, the companies refer the book values or existing weights in the capital structure. The analysis of capital structure in terms of debt equity ratio. The analysis of capital structure in terms of debt equity ratio is based on the book value also. It means book values themselves are used. Book values are directly used, okay, in determining the optimal capital structure of debt equity ratio. Okay, so we'll just sum up then. Computing weighted average cost of capital. So we learned how to assign weights to the specific costs, marginal weights as well as historical weights. In historical weights, there were two types, okay, market value weights and book value weights. Okay, then once we consider the particular type of weights which we are going to use, multiply the cost of each source, means cost of debt, cost of equity, cost of preference, cost of retained earnings, by the appropriate weights, whatever is their proportion in the total capital. Then divide the total weighted cost of capital by the total weights to determine weighted average cost of capital. Okay, so after this, okay, we are going to consider some simple examples to understand how to compute weighted average cost of capital. Prema, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
And the screen is visible?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
The new screen. Okay, computation of weighted average cost of capital. Visible it is?
Yes, sir. It's clearly visible.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, so now we will consider some very simple examples to understand all that we just learned. Okay, so I repeat. So I'm going to consider some very simple examples now, numerical problems, to understand what exactly we learned in theory part. Okay, there are two steps in computing weighted average cost of capital. If you remember, step one, calculate the specific cost of each source of finance. Step two, combine the specific costs to arrive at, okay, weighted average cost of capital. But while combining the cost, we assign weights. Okay, weights are nothing but the proportion of each source of capital in the total capital. And there are different methods or types to assign weights, like marginal weights and historical weights. In historical weights, market value weights and book value weights. So how to assign values? Okay, so that is the, and arrive at the weighted average cost of capital we are going to learn now. So please pay attention. That theoretical background would make you very easy for you to understand these numerical problems. The problems are solved exactly in the same steps the way I explained you just in the previous PowerPoint slides. Okay, so let's go into the first example of how to assign book value weights and calculate weighted average cost of capital. So I repeat, so we're going to use first, okay, book value weights to assign weights to specific sources of capital and determine weighted average cost of capital. Okay. Okay. So now in this example, a firm's after-tax cost of capital of the specific sources is as follows. So on good news for students, so cost of capital will be readily given in the problem. I repeat, cost of capital, cost of specific cost of capital, cost of specific sources of capital will be given readily in the problem. Okay. So cost of debt in this case is 8%. Cost of preference shares, including dividend tax, is 14%. Cost of equity funds is 17%. So specific costs are readily given in the problem. Then the sources and amount of capital in the total capital. So in the existing capital structure, debt capital is of 3 lakh rupees, 2 lakh rupee of preference capital, and 5 lakh rupees of equity capital. So total is 10 lakh rupees. Total is 10 lakh rupees. So you are asked to calculate the weighted average cost of capital K using book value weight. So it will be given in the problem which weights to use. So I repeat, it will be given clearly in the problem which weights to assign. So solution is simple. So I need to have a table. Okay. So with 5 columns, source of funds, amount in rupees, that is capital from each source, proportion, so these are weights. Okay, so these are the weights or proportions. Then cost of each source of capital. Okay, so it is given in percentages, we convert them into decimals. Okay, then column number 5, the total weighted cost. Okay, so which we get by multiplying column number 3, proportion by the cost of each source of capital. Okay, so let us go ahead with the problem first. So source of funds, debt capital, amount 3 lakh rupees. Okay, see it is given in the problem. It is given in the problem. Proportion. So if you consider, so please pay attention. Everybody, please pay attention. Non-commerce students. Total capital is, okay, 10 lakh rupees. 3 lakh plus 2 lakh plus 5 lakh, 10 lakh rupees. So total capital is 10 lakh. So what is the proportion of a debt capital in the total capital? So it is 3 lakh in the 10 lakh rupees. So which is nothing but 30%. You are able to understand? Okay, 3 lakh divided by 10 lakh into 100. So you get 30%. So once I convert it into decimals, it becomes 0.3. Okay. Then the cost of debt is 8%. Okay, see it is given. Cost of debt is 8%. So when I convert 8% into decimals, it becomes 0.08. You can simply divide 8 by 100. 8 divided by 100, you will get the decimal converted, 0.08. Now how I arrive at the weighted cost? Okay, 0.3 multiplied by 0.08 is equal to 0.024. This is what we learned. Multiply the proportion of each source of capital by its cost. So 0.3 into 0.08 is equal to 0.024. So next is preference capital amount. Preference capital amount in 10 lakh is 2 lakh rupees. So its weightage in the total capital is 20%. So 2 lakh rupee out of 10 lakh rupee. So its proportion is 20%. So if I convert it into decimals, it will become 0.2. So the weight is 0.2. Proportion is nothing but weights. Okay, and the cost of preference capital is 14%. It is given in the problem. So once I convert it into decimals, it becomes 0.14. So when I multiply the weight 0.2 by its cost 0.14, the answer we get is 0.028. Same way, equity, the amount of equity capital in the total capital is 5 lakh rupees. So its proportion is 50%. So once I convert it into decimals, it becomes 0.5. Okay, then the cost of equity capital given in the problem is 17%. Okay, so once I convert it into decimals, it becomes 0.17. So multiply the weights of equity 0.5 by its cost 0.17. Okay, the product is 0.085. So I have to make a total of this column. So 0.024 plus 0.028 plus, okay, 0.085 is 0.137. So once you multiply this by 100, you get the weighted average cost of capital K0 as 13.7%. So I repeat, 13.7%. So this is exactly according to the way theoretically we learned how to compute weighted average cost of capital and how to assign weights. It will be given in the problem itself which weights to assign and how to multiply the weights by the cost of specific source of capital. Now in coming numericals, we are going to use another method. So the alternate method, so which is more easier than this. So please pay attention. So we are going to use this formula in the alternate method. Total cost of capital divided by total capital into 100. The total cost of capital divided by total capital into 100 will also give you the same results, cost of weighted average cost of capital. So the one advantage of this method is the procedure avoids fractional calculation. So if you can see here, lot of fractions are used. Okay, so this alternate method avoids fractional calculations. Okay, it is more easy actually, which you will learn immediately. And in upcoming numericals, we are going to consider this alternate method. So for the same problem, okay, which we solved, alternate method we are going to solve now. So what you can see is we are going to make only 4 columns. So column 1 is source of funds. Column 2 is amount of capital from each source. Then cost of capital converted into decimals and total cost, which we get by multiplying column 2 into column 3. So first one, debt capital is 3 lakh rupees in the problem. It is given. Cost of debt capital is 8%. Once we convert it into decimals, it becomes 0.08. So simply multiply. Okay, debt capital into 0.08. So what you get is cost of debt capital. It means the cost of 3 lakh rupee debt capital is 24,000 rupees. Same way, preference capital is 2 lakh rupees and the cost of preference capital is 14%. So once I convert that, it becomes 0.14. So multiply 2 lakh by 0.14. Okay, the cost of preference capital is 28,000 in rupees. Okay, see the only difference is here we have computed the cost of debt, preference and equity, okay, in terms of percentages. But here it is in terms of amount, rupee amount. Cost of debt capital is 24,000, cost of preference capital is 28,000 and equity capital is 5 lakh rupees. The cost of equity capital is 17%. Okay, once you multiply 5 lakh into 0.17, the cost of equity capital is 85,000 rupees. So this cost is in terms of rupees. So same, you total all the 3 rows, 24,000 plus 28,000 plus 85,000 is equal to 1,37,000. So this is the, in the equation, this is the total cost of capital is 1,37,000. The total capital is 10 lakh rupees. So divide. So total cost of capital is 1,37,000, which we arrived here, and the total capital is 10 lakh rupees, which is here. So 1,37,000 divided by 10 lakh into 100 into 100 is equal to, you will give the same answer. Weighted average cost of capital is 13.17%. So I remember. So in upcoming problems, we are going to use the alternate method itself in this way. Total cost of capital multiplied by total capital into 100. And as you saw, it is more easier. Okay, it is more easier to calculate weighted average cost of capital as compared to this method, which include a lot of fractional calculations. Okay, so still I have 5 minutes to go. So we learned now how to calculate weighted average cost of capital using book value weights, a type of historical weights. In my next class, okay, we will learn how to calculate weighted average cost of capital using market value weights, second type of historical weights. Okay, so now on this part, book value weights. So any questions? So I'm going to unmute you all. Those students who do not have any questions, please mute your audio immediately within 1 or 2 seconds. In spite of repeat instructions, students forget to mute their audio. Those students who do not have any questions. Okay. Yeah, any questions? Shruti, any questions? If no question, then kindly mute your audio. Pooja, any questions? Can you hear me? Pooja, can you hear me? Okay. So everybody's audio is mute. So CR, Sharan or Prema? Okay. Prema, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Sharan, any questions?
No, sir.
Okay,
Sir,
thank
now
you.
I can hear you, sir.
Okay, Prema,
Yes,
any
sir.
questions?
No, sir, no, it's understood.
Okay, so explanation was easy and easy to understand.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. See the PDF file of this I will send later. I have to add some more problems to it. Okay, by today evening I'll try to send.
Okay, sir.
Remaining all resources are already shared. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, then you can mute your audio then, Sharan and Prema.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to mute you all again. Okay, so with this, okay, calculate computation of weighted average cost of capital, okay, using book value weights, the first type of historical weights we have learned. So how to calculate the proportions, okay, and how to convert them into weights or into decimals we learned, and then how to arrive at the weighted cost by multiplying the weights by their specific cost. Okay, so we learned this. So this method is exactly according to the theory part how we learned, but there are too many fractions, and if you make any one mistake, for example, instead of 0.08, if you take it as 0.8, your whole answer will be wrong. So there is an alternate method which is more easy, okay, so which we considered. So this method is more easier compared to the earlier one. Okay, so with this I will conclude the session. So I thank you all for your active participation, okay, in the class, and the resources of this material I will share later. If you have any doubts still, okay, you please feel free to call me. Thank you one and all, and